Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to be creating the paging controls. That's going to involve creating and registering a paging service, updating the paging button component, and then adding code to be able to page the movie data. When we're done, we'll have controls like you see here at the bottom right-hand corner, where you can navigate from one page to another. Okay, so we're now ready to start creating and registering some paging services. Now I'm going to be creating multiple building blocks to implement the paging controls. To help them cooperate with each other, I'm going to be creating a class that represents the current pagination state and provide access to it through the repository class. So to get started, let's go to the config classes.repository, and we are going to add this class that defines the movies per page and current page. So movie records will be shown 4 at a time. Next, let's hop over to our repository, and within our imports from the config classes.repository, in addition to filter, let's add pagination. Next, we want to instantiate an instance of a pagination object, and we can do that right under filter object where that's instantiated. And right below where we assign the collection of categories, we can assign the value of 1 for the current page. And pagination is complaining because we need to add that property, and I will add that along with our other properties. And now there should be no more complaint. And there's not. The next thing that we want to do is to update the paging button component. So now that the repository provides access to the pagination data, I can update the component so that it can provide the support required for the page navigation buttons. So I will go to pagination.component, and right under our constructor, add in a couple of blocks of code. The first is the property getCurrent, and then followed by that is getPages. And the last is the method changePage. So the current property and the changePage method get and set the pagination.currentPage property. The pages method generates a sequence of page numbers which will provide the ng4 directive with the objects it needs to create and configure the buttons that will change the page. Next on our plate is to add page support in the pagination.component template. So I will highlight and replace this with this chunk of code, and all that's happening over here is that the ngIf directive is being used to ensure that page buttons are displayed only if there are multiple pages of movies available. The ng directive is used to generate button elements for each page, with the class binding showing the active page and the click event binding allowing the user to change pages. Now let's shift our attention to paging the movie data. We know that our page navigation buttons are in place, but clicking them right now has no effect on the list of movies displayed to the user. So to fix that, let's go to our movie list.component page, and we're going to modify our get movies property by replacing it with lines 11 through 16. And what's essentially happening here is that the movies getter is using the JavaScript array slice method to select a subset of the movie objects available in the repository. So let's go ahead and execute to see this in action. Okay, so when we scroll down, boom, we have pagination. So it looks like not all the movies are showing, and we are on the first page. If I click 2, we move on to our second page of movies. 3, same thing. If I click on 1, we go back to our first page. Excellent. Coming up next, displaying ratings.